There's a great new poll from Gallup, and they asked Americans, who do you think has too much power in America? Oh, I love the results. The results are so telling, and honestly, it proves my point that in the short term, of course, the American people can make mistakes. We often do, right? But in the long term, it's shocking how many times we get things right. And you know, the power establishment will be dismissive of this poll. They're already dismissive of this poll. But look at what it tells you and look at how true it is. So, who has too much power in America? Number one on the list, lobbyists. Of course. In Washington, they love the lobbyists. In the rest of the country, we hate them. I can't believe there's 13% of Americans who think lobbyists have just about the right amount of power. But obviously, coming in at number one there. But look at number two, major corporations. That is above, as you can see, number four, which is the federal government in Washington. So actually, the American people distrust major corporations, and number three, banks and financial institutions think they have too much power, more than they think the federal government has too much power. And that is exactly right. You know why? Because it's those banks and those major corporations that bought the government in the first place. The government is just a henchman. They're just a bunch of errand boys. They're gophers. The lobbyists bought them for the banks, for the major corporations, and guess what? The American people get it. They're exactly right about that. Now, number five on the list, as you saw there, was unions. Now, look, unions' power has been greatly diminished, and corporations are crushing them. But the American people are not wrong. Even with their diminished power, oftentimes unions have great sway, especially in state elections, where they have a lot of power and they can get things to their advantage. Do I want the unions to be able to have undue advantage because of their lobbying? Any more than I want the corporations to have it? No, I don't want any of them to have the undue influence, and neither do the American people. But also they accurately assess that unions is only at 43% in too much power, whereas corporations are at 67%. That's a giant divide, and they're right about that. There is a giant divide in power, too. Now, there is one other piece of good news, other than the fact that the American people totally get it here, which is that they're also right about their state and local governments. And that's the good news here. When asked, does your state government have too much power, the answer was 34%. Not very high, very low on the list. And your municipal or local government, where you live, down to 22%. 53% saying yes, they have just about the right amount of power. In fact, you can make an argument they don't have enough power. See, the establishment has this myth out there, like, oh, the local country bumpkins, you know how they are. You know, those local idiots. Oh, you know, they're corrupt and they got, you know, all these deals that they do at the state and the local level. No. The institutional corruption is at the federal level. We've institutionalized it so that you can't escape from it. You must get the lobbyist money, and obviously if you get it from them, you're going to do their bidding. You know that in United States Congress, 95% of the time, the person with more money wins the election. 95%. That is what is determinative at the federal level. But at the state and local level, in our experience, not only in covering the news, but also through Wolfpack, that's our pack to fight all the other packs, we've noticed that the state and local representatives oftentimes actually represent you. It's amazing. Democracy is alive, not at the federal level, but at the state and local level. So once again, the American people nail it. One last facet of this. Oh, the mainstream media's dismissiveness of this poll is awesome. I read a couple articles where they're like, oh, you see that, the American people, they don't know what they're talking about. None of that is consistent. What are you talking about? It's the most consistent thing I've ever read in my life. And you will see this so often. And part of why the American people also don't trust the establishment media, which is that you're not telling us the truth. And besides you not doing it, we figured it out anyway. Okay, sad day for you. We figured it out. This is true no matter what you tell us and what you want us to believe. Because unfortunately, that establishment media is part of the power structure and the elites the American people no longer believe in, and correctly so.